is going on, everybody? Welcome back to SharkNation number 72. Getting close to 75. Jason is excited. How you
Can't
doing
wait.
today, man?
Doing amazing. You know what? I was dragging ass and I had super low energy. Even my coach called me out on it because I was like I just dragging today. I don't know what was. I just tired. I got a call at like 6 a.m. from fucking Home Depot that wanted. I had a new stove getting delivered to an apartment building, and
Hmm.
like their time frame was like 7 to 11. It's like the cable company will be there between 8 and 12 and 1 and 5. It's like and they called me at like 6 in the morning. I'm just like, man, just yeah, did not
It's
want to.
my fault. Don't kid yourselves because I called you yesterday all mopey.
You were moping yesterday. You were
Yeah,
dragging ass yesterday, and you rubbed off on me. You infected me.
I probably did. I probably did. So if you're mopey today, cut the shit because you're making other people mopey. That shit's contagious.
It is contagious. I was all salted this morning. I'm feeling good though. I had 3 good coaching calls in a row, and now I get to meet the wonderful Chad for some good conversation, and yeah, getting after it today. Getting
That's
back on
it.
track. Back at it.
So, what I thought was relevant today, or we thought, was uncertainty. Um, and I think, obviously, we're geared for real estate agents. We see it in this business. I mean, gosh, I don't know what else. It's such a great vessel to, achieve a good financial income if you do the work. But at the same time, there is so much uncertainty in this business, and because it's such a long process to buy and sell real estate. From when people, get interested to when they do it. So there's that side. But then on the other side of it, I think right now, buyers and sellers in the state of the world, there's just a lot of uncertainty out there, and um, I find that a lot of people just freeze in uncertainty. I'm not saying I've never done that, but I think it's important to just let's attack the subject of uncertainty. Um, so for me personally, while we're going there, you know, I've felt it many times in my life. When I've done well, I just kept showing up. When I didn't do well, I didn't show up. So if I'm to look back in hindsight, it's like, wow, it's just about continuing to show up regardless of the fact that you're not clear of what you're doing, is the right move or not.
For sure. And you know, today we have the stock market sell off, right? A lot of uncertainty going on with that. And one of your coaches and Reside founders, Nick McLean, recommended a good book that I'm actually reading as part of 75 Hard, which is The Psychology of Money. Did
Yeah.
you read that?
No.
Dude, come on,
I
you
chat
see,
GPT the summary.
what a loser. Oh my God. All
It's
right.
on
Well,
my
anywho,
list.
but basically, humans are irrational, right? And when uncertainty happens, we follow the herd. So what happens? Some people start selling off, and then people don't want to be the last to do it. So other people start selling off as well. And that herd mentality causes recessions and things like that. And it's because we don't know. A lack of information is the uncertainty of what's going to happen next. We don't want to lose all our money, right? But if you, and it's funny with that book, if you just, so many people try to time the market, right? I'm going to buy at the best time or when the stock's down. If you just consistently do the work and consistently invest over time, your returns will compound. Too many people get out of it before the compound effect happens, and then they lose all the potential gains because they're trying to time, this is bad or that's bad. And I was listening to Fox Business today, and they're like, dude, guys like Warren Buffett and stuff love stuff like this. When uncertainty, it's buying stuff at a bargain price right
And
now.
you're talking about stocks,
I'm
not
talking
real
about
estate?
stocks, and no, I'm going to bring it.
Well, no,
Moping
my
Chad, I'm bringing it back to real estate, but go ahead.
no, well, think about it. Like anybody listening, what we all know that. We all know, like the historic, um if you just follow the oh my gosh, I can't even talk today. Um Whatever the hell it's called. What's the annual 8% return every year,
Yeah,
year over year? Yeah.
yeah, the S&P
God. The
average
S&P.
return.
Jesus, my brain. That'll look great. That's why we do this shit live, so we look stupid. So if you follow that, you know that it's going to work. But what is that showing you? It's showing you consistency. And it's funny how, and you could equate, the peaks and the valleys, the goods and the bads of the uncertainties, right? To, like wanting to know what to do in the uncertain moments is like wanting to know what shiny object to buy, like what magic stock can I buy that's going to go up 5 million% in the next 30 days. It's like that's just, it's the same thing in real estate. Like,
Yeah.
and
We
it
just had this talk.
parallel.
We just had this talk off air yesterday, where Chad is thinking about a shiny object. He loves it. He's ready to pull the trigger on it, and I'm like, "Do you need that?" And he's like, "Look at him laughing because he knows." He's like, Is it something that I need or something that I want? Right? Is it going to help move the needle to what you want to do? Probably, right? Is it something that might be a distraction or is it something that we need? And like I said, for each of our businesses, we kind of go through that and we evaluate and kind of see what's good, what's not. But that's one of the things with when there's uncertainty, what do we look for? Certainty, right? We want to make things as calm as we can, so then that way it's easier to navigate.
Yes. Yes. And I think,
Well, let me tie it back to real estate, right? So when brand new agents get their license, right? You have the uncertainty of your career working out, right? Because you've never done it before. So the unknown is always scary because it's one of those things. Can I do it? Right. So you have 2 months to 3 months, maybe 6 months of studying to even get your license, right? So there's no payoff there, right? And then once you get your license, then you have to get build up your skills, learning contract sales skills, all that kind of stuff, obtaining clients, leads, all that kind of stuff. So you're there's more learning curve, say another 6 months. So now you're a year in with no results, right? A lot of people live in an instant gratification world where if they don't have any kind of instant results, it's hard to see all the work that they put in. Is that paying off, or am I just doing something just to do it?
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I get it, because we all experience it at some level or another. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, I've been doing this a lot lately where like it's so easy. Well, let me bring it down to the micro because I just did it with hockey because I think it was really easy for me. Like what I saw first person, right? Versus like what someone sees in the bleachers. So much easier to see the mistakes when you're in the bleachers. Um, and
Monday
but think
morning
about
quarter.
well, and then you think what I think about that was is like to now what I'm trying to do when I'm giving myself advice or in the self talk in the head is like, what advice would I give myself if I was on a coaching call with myself, right? Because I coach real estate agents on the team, right? It's like, well, if I was a team member and I came to my, meeting and had this thing, what would I say to myself? And that's where you go, oh, shit. I w- I would stick it out. I would just, you know, not look at the shiny objects. I would stay more consistent. I would stop with the excuses and all the things that Um, and I think that's a good point to talk about where it's like the value of coaching, because when grew up in this business, like you'll get so far and then you'll hit a ceiling is what I think. And I think my ceiling was pretty high when I got in. Like it didn't like it took a while for me to find it through all the blunders and mistakes. I still was continuing to grow because as long as you're taking action, it'll continue to grow. And I fumbled my way through, and I only thought money was worth spending if it was on leads. I was like, that's all money. Like I don't. Why would I ever pay any money to have words when I could take that money and get more leads? Um, and I guess when you start, I don't know. I think when you hit that ceiling, you start to realize like we all need some form of a coach. Like we look at the biggest pro athletes out there, they have coaches. I mean, coaches have coaches. Everybody, has that. Like even if it's just a spouse or a friend or a therapist, like you've got some form of coaching, and the mind, like, and here's what we're going to. I think we might have talked about this a little bit before, but psychology, methodology, and technology. We all have the technology. We all have the stuff to do. Like we all have the same tools, especially as real estate agents. So every brokerage has a CRM that'll work fine if you'd use it. Yeah, you might not like it, but somebody's making 500K a year with the exact CRM you have. Guarantee it. Um, even if it's a Rolodex, right? Um, the
That's me. That was me. I definitely had that.
So, hell, that might be the most common one. No, I'm kidding. Methodology, you know what to do. Like you do. Like think about it. What do I do? Door knock, cold call, mailers, open houses, sphere of influence, networking, you know what to do. Internet leads, all the same thing. Buy leads, all the stuff. Um, but the psychology is where we all get stuck. Me too. And so why would you not be investing in that? And from somebody who's been where you want to go, like that's like yeah, it's I don't know, it's become so apparent to me how important coaching it is. If so, but from somebody who used to be like, nope, every penny is getting spent on leads. That's it. Like that's how I used to be. And I'm
Yeah.
starting to see now how much you need that psychology to break through the barriers. You might have a ceiling. You might be able to do 20 deals. You might be able to do 40. You might be able to do 5. I don't know what your ceiling is. Go find it, but what's going to help you break through it is a coach. They're going to help you find their blind spots.
Well, I think as a broker owner, a team lead, or whatever, I think you're a hypocrite if you don't look into getting some kind of coaching, right? You're telling
Yeah.
people on your team to sacrifice a commission and pay for accelerating the learning curve, right? But you're not going to do the same thing for you and your business, right? The reason that I got into coaching last year was the same thing. I want to accelerate building the team and get my team to a higher level and my leadership skills up to a higher level. And guess what? You got to pay for it. It's not cheap, right? But if I want to go where I want, instead of trying to figure everything out I can, right? I'm going to one of the best in the business and they're giving me all the steps I need to take to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So I'm accelerating my learning curve just like an agent would be accelerating, especially brand new agent. You come in, you know shit, right? You got to learn the contracts. You have to learn how to build a business. You have to run it like a business. You have to learn how to talk to people. You have to learn negotiation skills. You have to kind of learn how to deal with people, other agents, other sellers, other buyers, whatever. Right? You cannot figure it out by yourself. You can try to figure out every lead source, right? But why wouldn't you want to pay for accelerating that learning curve? Right? And then shrink your time down, right? So instead of learning it in 2 years, you learn it in 6 months to a year. And then you caught a year. How valuable is that money? Like right now, I'm thinking like, okay, I invested into a year of good coaching, right? How much I spend for that X? If I tried to figure it out, how much longer would I have took me to figure all this out, right? What's that time value of money there?
yeah. Yeah, it's so clear, but I like the hypocrite thing too because it's funny. Yeah, that's kind of what I probably experienced for years. I was, yeah. And I think yeah, I don't know. It's there's so
Well, I
many
think it's
ways you can go with this.
I think it's two different, schools of thought, right? One, if you're usually the progression is, you're a solo agent, then you become a high performing solo agent, then you have too much business, so then that way you try to, like, offset the leads and kinda just have, like, business, buyer associates or whatever to kinda help. It's not really ran as a team, but the moment that you take it from, "I wanna make an organized team," then you should look into doing it the right way and not kinda just trying to fumble through it.
Well, it's running it like a business. That's the
Oh,
difference. I mean, solo agents can run it like a business, but I mean, if you're only doing it one person, I mean, if you can have like the mini team, like, well, that's the thing too, is there's so many, this is the problem with real estate. There's so many different ways you can look at this. I mean, there's big teams, there's medium-sized teams, small teams, there's agents that are solo agents with a vendor team and an admin team, and then there's just solo agents. So it's like, um, and I don't, I think the other thing I noticed too is like, I'm done with cheap shit that like, I'm not saying there's never like, cheap stuff that works well that you get really, really good value, but it's like everything has a cost. And
yeah,
that free shit or that included shit, might be the cost of the potential business you're missing out on. Like I want the more expensive stuff now. Like I tried to cheap out on a lot of technology and it sucks, like
yeah.
it's
Pay me
like
now or pay me later, right? You could either go cheap and get cheap, or you pay for value and you get value. I'd rather at this point in my career, pay for value and get the best value I can.
so it's like every time I ask for advice lately, I'm like looking at and this is, you think about this, but really inspect in your day to day when you ask people questions, have they done or they have they experienced the thing you're doing? Not just sales, all things, health and fitness. What piece of technology you're using for the thing you want to use? Did they use it in the application or the way that that you used it? I mean, I know, like I'm a tech nerd, so I love this stuff, but like people that want to buy a MacBook Pro with the best processor ever, like 99% of people don't need that. Are you editing 4K video? Are you doing stuff that's really important? You know what I mean? Like you should buy the cheapest base level. Like, all right, Macs are premium because they're, but they're generally a better product and stuff. I mean, that's opinionated. I get it, but they just freaking work. I don't give a shit. I've tried them all. I've had Windows, I've had Chromebooks, I've had Macs, but ultimately, like MacBook Air is fine for like 99.9% of the people, you know? So are you asking somebody, who's doing with, um, the thing you're doing with that device, or are you asking somebody who's editing 4K videos? They're totally different, lenses. And that's a simple one, but like I want you to think about when you're asking your parents or your spouse or your friends, when you're asking them that question, did they do the thing you're trying to do? Now, support's different, right? Just being like a support or lend an ear or a vent session you know, but like if you're trying to pay down the dumb tax, why don't you just go find the people who did what you're trying to do? You know what I mean? Like, and there you go, plug for the team. You want to sell 60 houses? I did it in my second year. Let's go.
There you go. I like it. And like you said, in the book too, that Psychology of Money talks about, you know, and this goes for investing, but it also goes for everybody. Put yourself in their shoes, right? Sometimes you're looking from the outside and you don't put yourself in their shoes. Like some investors are different. And I'm going back to the stock market because I have it on in the background and I'm seeing it blowing up today. But an investor that's doing a day trade is going to be
Ah,
in for the short term, right? An investor that is 20-year-old is going in for the long term, right? Say if you're getting close to the end of retirement, you're in your 40s or 50s, and retirement's you're going to be investing in a different tactic, right? So when you see the market as a whole, it's not the whole. It's all individuals with all individual goals. What's your goal as an individual agent? Is it a short term career? Are you doing it part time? Where are you at in the process? Is this like I tell like the Tuesday? I just had our team meeting and I just talked about this. Most agents work like they're only going to be agents for the next 30, 60, 90 days. You're not going nowhere. So why can't you nurture and follow up with leads over that time frame? I have a good story. You know, I went back and took a look at some Facebook messaging, right? Because I've been getting out there since like 2018 when I was nurturing this one lead. Literally have the timestamp when I was Facebook messaging with them. Hey, it's Jason with blah 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 Realty at the time. I saw that you were looking to buy a house. How could I help? Right? I'm selling our house this year. Dude, this year I've been showing another client, my longest buyers ever. They had a family situation where they had one baby, kind of put the showings on pause. Then the markets went crazy. Then the interest runs crazy, and then they had another baby. Dude, 5 or 6 years I've been showing them houses, and we finally went under contract this week. It's a long game, dude. Why do we think of it? And it's just like that investor. Why do we think of it as a short-term day trade?
yeah, yeah. So much gold there. And the other thing is, so there's a lot of, man, there's so many things I want to say. I'll say like five things at once to you about that. But the number one thing is that's why real estate's always been good for me is that, well, we all have, I think a lot of us are impatient, but why it's been good for me is I let that happen and it pushes me to like not be happy with the result now, but I don't, instead of just going, oh, I'm not happy, so I'm gonna go try something else, I keep doing more of the thing. And that's like when I go back and I look at, really try to look back at like where was the success for me as a solo agent. It's because like I was just never happy. Not never happy, but never happy with the result. And that can be used like it's like when you understand negative traits and how to position them in a positive way, that's powerful. Like a negative trait in real estate could be like, impatience. But actually, if you put it in impatience in the sense of like, all right, you're not happy with your top three most likely to transact, then you need to keep hunting to find a better top 3 most likely to transact. Doesn't mean you're forgetting about the other people you're talking with, not at all. It just means
Yeah.
keep trying to find a better one, and that can lead to, a crazy amount of sales. But one other thing I wanted to bring up is you were talking about the life cycle of, a lead and staying in the game. We had an agent that joined our team, um, which is interesting. I heard a team that has a rule if they're not making their new team members are not making 22-minute conversations per week every week in the first month that they're on the team, they're off. Like I like that rule because this this one we had like 5 in like 2 or 3 weeks, you know. But of that 5, one of the 5, there was a good conversation. So they had this, made the dials, made 45 dials. They had 5 conversations. One of the conversations was with a lead who came in November that we spoke with, wasn't really interested, texted, not interested. Okay. Our agent followed up with them next week. Who is this? Didn't even remember the person they had texted, back and forth with and talked on the phone, right? Didn't even remember, oh, I'm buying next year, like a year out. Okay, cool.
Yeah, don't
Revisit,
bother me. I'm not ready yet. Don't bother me.
couple calls come, new agent gets on the team, starts calling leads that some of our other agents were missing. Boom, as a conversation. I come in and coach them and give them a couple tips on what they should say on our follow up boss. I added some notes, said, hey, I think you should say this, do that. Would you like to claim the lead? And they got frustrated with not seeing results right away from the phone calls, decided to leave the team. One of our other agents picks up that deal. It's under contract. They could have had a deal in their first 30 days if they just would have stayed in the game.
Mm.
Like it's I see it every day. And just to see another one like right there, it's so frustrating to see that. Um, but I think there's just so much uncertainty and you just don't want to do the uncomfortable stuff um without the end result in sight.
Well, well, you know what helps with uncertainty is experience, right? So there's only so much stuff as a team lead that I could coach you on and train you up on when you first get started. So I like to call it practice and then the game, right? Practice is all the stuff that you need to do before you go under contract. Once you go under contract, now we're in the game. Okay. And there's, once you get in the game, then, it's all going to be deal specific. What's going on with this? How do I navigate this? How do I deal with these personalities? How do I keep this bus from, or this train from, jumping off the tracks? Right. Different skill set. I just had a one-on-one with Michelle on my team about this, right? Because now she's, getting more experience, getting some more deals under her belt. And, at first, when she first got started, she had, a handful of clients and they weren't ready yet, and this one had this problem, and then this one couldn't get qualified, and she's worrying about like all this stuff. And I told her, look, if you had more clients, you wouldn't be worrying about that, right? and
Oh, is
then
that it? Yeah.
and now as she's been prospecting more and all that kind of stuff, now she can see like, oh yeah, that's what you were talking about. So the
Right.
uncertainty beforehand, but now it's clarity, right? And clarity is kindness. It's like, oh, that's it. But you only get that through experience.
It's such a big deal. Like, so I've harped on that so much. I got out of production in like 2020. Um, I was out for about almost, yeah, probably 4 years. For the most part, I didn't really sell anything, maybe a couple friends and family, but
the,
like
the,
3 or 4 years.
the rocket time of the market,
Yeah. Shouldn't have
the,
done it, but I did.
the boom time of the market for sure.
Wish I never got out. Let me make that clear for anybody listening. I wish I never got out. Doesn't mean I need to go sell 100 a year personally, but I just wish I never got out entirely like I did. Um, anyways, though, was out for a while. But right before I got out, I remember so many agents, I would tell them, you're just worried about this because you only have one deal. It's 100% of your income if this falls through. And it's not that you don't care, it's just that you take on all of the stress and uncertainty of this one person situation. And that's 100% of your income. And you don't have control over that situation because it's not your decision. It's the buyer or the seller. You're just there to guide them.
Yep. They're
So
the hero in the story. You're just the tour guide.
correct. So, but it's so funny that how many times in 2018, 2019, 2020, I'd said that to agents. And then, I go out for 3 or 4 years, then I come back in, I got one under contract because I'm building my pipeline back. You got to rebuild your own pipeline. And I'm like, I get a deal and I'm like sweating shit. And Brittany's like, whoa, like, what's like, Well, yeah, right now in terms of a solo agent, it's 100% of my income, so it's, yeah, the only answer to that as a real estate agent is to go get more deals because otherwise you're just gonna, um, sit there and dwell over every detail, and, like, w
Well, you're
I
just gonna be
mean,
nervous wreck. You're gonna be nervous on the inspections. You're
it
gonna
doesn't
be
take 8
nervous.
hours a day to babysit one deal.
Yeah, you're gonna be nervous on the inspections, the appraisal. Are they gonna keep their job? Is the seller gonna go crazy and blow up the deal? Is the other agent,
Buy
why
a
aren't they responding?
Is the
Yeah,
buyer gonna buy a car
is your buyer gonna go buy a yacht?
or a yacht? There we go. I like that kind of buyer. Give me that one.
I have the Uncle J talk with all my clients. You wanna hear the Uncle J talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, here's Uncle Jay. It's like, "Hey, look at you're pre-approved now. What you want is your actual approval. So don't go out. Make sure you pay all your bills on time. Don't go buy new furniture. Don't go buy a yacht. Don't go buy any new cars. Nothing. Any appliances for the house. Once you close on it, go buy whatever you want. I don't care. But you're pre-approved now. You want to get your actual approval, and anything that you purchase could affect your approval. So do not buy anything. If you have a question about what you should and shouldn't pay, call me before you make any big decisions.
Has anybody ever not listened and screwed it up still?
No, no. Uncle Jake,
No.
no. You gotta no.
Man, this is why I'm friends with you.
No, that's why you have to have that talk. As soon as you're going over the contract with
Yeah,
them,
but I'm not you, man. Only you can have that talk. In the way that you do it, it's just
well,
so
smooth,
just
right?
it just hits
Comes off the lips.
pocket aces.
Pocket aces, baby. That's it. See that? We're going from moping, now we're in good moods.
So, why why get into real estate? Why re-enter into real estate? Why stay and continue into real estate when things are a long process, they're uncertain, things are really uncertain right now? What advice would you give to an agent to either stay or get into this business right now?
That's a good question. So, I think it all comes from the heart, right? If you have a helpful heart, right, that you're just in it to help people, you'll be fine. It doesn't matter about if, it's just a matter of when that, people will be looking to buy and sell, and you'll be there when they're ready. The problem with uncertainty is, sometimes people don't account for their financial situation. So then that uncertainty becomes stress, and then they have more sales breath, and then they can't handle the transaction because they need the money to do it. So the biggest thing with that would be, for one, get your ducks in a row financially, right? You don't want to have sales breath because you know you need to make this payment or that payment or whatever payment, right? Because it's going to change the way that you talk. It's going to be change the way you behave, and you might not even realize that at first. So, and for two, it's a long game, right? You're not going to be a real estate agent for 30, 60 days. All this stuff will come and go. It's seasonality, right? There's a reason why things are slower in the wintertime around here and then start picking up in the springtime, right? It's not because you're a shitty agent in the winter. It's just the seasonality, right? It's not that you're great in the spring and summer market. It's the seasonality, right? But you want to be there through all the seasons. It's just like if I circle back and go back to that investing analogy, if you are investing the whole time through every dip, recession, boom, bust, everything consistently over a long period of time, you're going to be successful. But you don't get to get that compound of being an agent if you're getting in and out of it all the time.
Mhm. Yeah, are you committed to making it work? That's probably why I'm so freaking all right, there's another way I'll use a negative trait to my advantage. I'm so fucking stubborn, man. Like you can't, I'm just so stubborn and I it's like I'm good since I've gotten into this business, it's like I'll make it work. I'll make it
I'm
work. I don't know how.
actually getting a follow-up bus call right now. I gotta shut it off.
Ah, look at
Forgot I
you.
had, I forgot
They're
it.
hunting you down.
I forgot I had it on.
They're so uncertainty. Um, how can you do things to create more certainty?
So I like to, and I just had this talk with the team um, on Tuesday, right? How do we make an unpredictable business more predictable, right? By consistently showing up and doing the actions that you need to take every day to do it. Real estate is just a math game. Everything else is just drama, right? So if you know that it's going, and you could take a look at your numbers month over month and see what results that you got. Does that make that more or less predictable? More predictable, right? So if you say, hey, I made 300 calls, I had 32-minute conversations. Out of that 32-minute conversations, I had 5 appointments and I got one under contract, and then one close, or two under contract, one close, or whatever, based off of that activity, you're taking out the uncertainty. It's proven math. So now if you want 2 deals a month, then what do you have to do? Increase your activity and keep it as simple as that. And as long as you're doing the work, some days you're going to have duds. Dude, think about it as investing in the stock market. You're buying a stock. Some leads are just going to blow up and not work out, and some of them are going to hit home runs. But you got to be in there in the weeds every day doing it, right? And then your numbers are going to get better the more practice you get, and the better your skills get, right? So you're not going to have that heavy lifting, and then it's going to be more and more certain. I just saw it on Rick on the team. He's been putting in the work, doing his buyer script, seller script. You know, Adiel had 700 calls, 60 some 2-minute combos. He had 500 calls, 90 2-minute combos, right? So 200 and some less calls, almost 30 more 2-minute combos, right? Working on his skills, right? So he knows out of those two, right? And then you could take it down just numbers wise. So if you have that, and that's why we want to use these systems and process, so you could predict in an unpredictable business and get rid of all that uncertainty, so you can see where you're going.
Mm, mhm, and that's why else you need coaching, because it's not just to pay the dumb tax down and to get the shortcuts, to be reminded of the things you know. Like, for example, I know to know your numbers. In these last 6 months or so, I've gotten away from the numbers as much and just gone into the grind, which the grind is good because I was missing that grind, but then you can't do it without numbers. It's got to be both, you need little things. And that's, I'm just getting coached here by Coach Jason. Know
That's it.
your numbers.
Uncle
uh,
J talk. You got the whole real estate stock market analogy to use. Now you got the Uncle J talk for your clients, and now the number with getting rid of uncertainty. How do we make an unpredictable commission based business more predictable?
that's why I did this. It's a free
Bang.
coaching call for me.
That's it. I'm gonna charge you $9.95.
That's good, man. So, last thing as we head out on this one, where you at on day 75 or day 75? Where are you at on 75 hard?
uh, Let me see. I think I'm on 53 or 54. Hold on.
53 or 54. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see.
Are we going to line up on episodes?
Yeah, 53 right now. And I'm
Dude,
almost. I got one more 45-minute and drink my gallon of H2 Easy, and I'm done with 53. So, yeah, we are lining up for 75. 3 more weeks, I'm done.
that's wild.
Yeah,
But because we didn't plan that. That's wild.
no.
Uh, what
And do you remember the conversation we had before the show? Like, I don't want to do it. Don't. Let's not. Let's talk about something else.
You know what's funny? I don't even remember. I don't even remember. So
I'm like,
good. We'll talk about it later.
I don't know if I want to commit to it. If I once I commit to it publicly, then I'm going to do it. So I've been,
I don't even
polite.
freaking remember, man. So I don't even know. But that's good. We won't talk about it because I don't even remember it. So the where are you at mentally through it? Beginning to now. Like, what did you expect versus what are you finding?
So the good part about being sober for 53 days is the clarity, right? The bad part about being sober for 53 days is the clarity. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. It's like that old song, "Nowhere to run to, baby, nowhere to hide," right? So you got to face all your shit, and it's a good thing, right? So many times we hide in the bottle and have that nightcap and everything else. So not being able to do that and just kind of, well, what is actually stressing me out and all that kind of good stuff, and figuring out how to cope with that without the I was gonna say psychedelics, but those days are long over.
Yeah, that's the number one reason if I was to pick one why I went down that path. Well, about a year and a half ago now, I guess. But is for me was like I do view the challenges as lessons. I think that people that get stuck where they are in life don't, they're not taking the lesson that life is putting in front of them. However, you want to view that. That's being, but it's just be that essentially that's the life that it's being put in front of you for a reason. And I felt I was ignoring a lot of them because of it, because it can do that. So what you're talking about is the exact reason why I actually just committed to full time sober. But it does suck because, uh, yeah, there's no. I mean, there's things though, but I think it's important to. There's things that release tension from it. Like for me, I like jumping in the hot tub, even just taking a shower. Like that's cool. Taking a walk, those things. But like it helps release it, but it's still there. And I don't know if you're listening to this, like that's like it's not easy, but like good.
Yeah.
Like, good that the lesson's still there. It's trying to tell you something, and if you wanna grow, and if you're anything I don't know, if you're anything like Jason and I, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably wanna grow. I'm not saying in real estate, maybe, of course, I mean, that's what this is geared toward, but just as a human being, I think we all have an interest in growing and learning and getting better than we were yesterday. Well, one of the greatest things you can do to do that is to take the lesson that's put in front of you and actually freaking learn from it. So, yeah,
Did I
man.
did I ever tell you the Tony Robbins hour of power breathing technique to help with stress reduction and get yourself in a better mood?
No.
Would you like to? Would you like to? Would you like to learn it now?
Sure.
So it's a breathing technique. He has a thing called hour of power, right? So when you breathe and inhale and exhale, you'll change it. It'll change your body dynamic, right? So it's a cadence of four. One, two, three, four. Four breaths in, four exhales, and you do it for about 5 minutes, and you'll see your state will change. And he does like incantations or all kinds of like stuff to get you pumped up every day in every way. I'm feeling better and better. Right? That's it. Tony Robbins up in the hizzle.
What do you do in the morning? What's your morning routine?
My morning routine is punching fucking Home Depot in the face for calling me at 6 in the morning to deliver
Not today. I want to know because I've actually never asked you. What do you do in the morning?
my morning routine. So I've been slacking on the meditation. I got to go back to that, but I had a good run of like 300 straight days or something. Or no, not 300 straight days. Like God, it was like 10,000 minutes of meditation in a row before I kind of, uh, just went cold turkey with it or whatever. But that was good. Right now with the 75 hard, I wake up, I go for my 45-minute outdoor walk, and then I do my reading, have a coffee, have a light breakfast, and then fucking get after it. But
Yeah, mine's a mess.
but by doing that, right, I'm knocking off like four or five things off of the 75 hard. So it's usually just one more 45-minute workout through the rest of the day and then finish my gallon of water. So, I mean, getting up early has been huge for being able to do this thing because if my morning routine wasn't good and I wasn't getting up on time, I'd never be able to make it happen.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten the morning right, and I'm definitely in a space of like I've had phases of it, but like, yeah, mine's a mess. I got to get it out, and not that I need like a 2 hour thing. I just think I need something, some something better than what I'm looking. So yeah, I've been
Do the what?
dabbling.
Go for an outside walk, right? Because being
I do
outdoors,
like, yeah, being
getting some
outside.
vitamin D from the sun's always good. But when you're doing that, don't listen to anything else. Just do that breathing technique, right? Do it for a good 5-10 minutes and see how you feel. You'll be like high from oxygen overload or whatever. And then another one to change your state is you take a big deep breath in, and then you do another breath after that, and do like
I need
three or four of those, and then it'll change your state too.
I need somebody to just come in and just fucking scream in the morning and just wake my ass up.
Get up, get up.
That's what we need. It's good.
Did you ever see that one with that? It's like that Goggins from "You Can't Hurt Me" or whatever. Or he was like getting people out of bed and like getting their ass like jogging at like 3 a.m. and stuff like
That's
that.
what I just need him to come scream at my face every morning.
Yeah,
I'm
stop being a pussy. Get out.
kidding. Oh god. Yeah, that's what we need. All right.
Hell yeah.
So if you're uncertainty, work on your morning routine and have David Goggins yell at you. No, that's yeah. Hopefully, we just our goal here is to be transparent and share the journey while we're in it, not after it. So hope everybody finds that relevant. Thanks for tuning in. Number 72. We got a couple more before you hit the big old 75 hard
Getting there.
finish line. It's
Making it
coming.
happen, brother.
All
Peace.
right. We'll see y'all on the next one.